Hello everyone. I hope you are all doing well. We have we are in the middle of July. By God's grace, we are still here, we are strong, we are healthy, and we give glory to God. So today we are going to talk about a part of the Bible that people always talk about. It's always there. It's an interesting conversation. We are told this story has been told to us from childhood till now, and that story is from Matthew, the story of Peter walking on water. But we are going to look at it from a different perspective. We are going to pick out the lessons we learned. We are going to look at different aspects of Peter walking on water. So the focus on today's message is going to be about when God calls you, by you walking into uncertainty, and what that looks like, and Peter's story being an example that we can learn from. So as we are starting, my question to you is that, or something I want you to ponder over, is that what if the safest place wasn't where the disciples stayed, but where Peter almost drowned? What if the safest place was not where the 11 disciples stayed, but where Peter drowned? So today's message is going to be focused on Matthew chapter 14, verse 22 to 23. A summary of it was basically them being in the boat after they had gone ahead of Jesus, and Jesus was walking on the water, and then they were all afraid because they were shocked. It was not something they were used to. It's not something they had seen before. And then God calling them, Peter asked that, God, if it is you, bid me to come. And then Peter was like, and then God was like, come. And then Peter just left. Like, it was crazy. So let's talk about it. So Peter asked that if it was God, he should call him to come. First, something Peter did that not many people realized was that Peter discerned that it was God. It was Jesus before he took the step. He did not take that step. He did not leave the boat until Jesus Christ had confirmed. One, the winds and the waves were crazy, and the boat, they were all on the boat. Mind you, it is better to be on the boat. You can all agree that it's better to be on the boat than to be just your legs and everything in the water with all of those waves and everything. So many things happened. That part of the Bible that we read, the boat that they were on, can represent so many things. It can represent being safe. It can represent human understanding. It can represent familiarity. The boat can represent so many things. And as we continue, you'll see why. So then now we get to the part where Jesus says that he should come. When Jesus said come, I don't know if we all noticed, but Jesus did not explain how he will come. Jesus did not explain how long it will take him to get there. Jesus did not explain to him what will happen if he decides to leave the boat. He didn't say anything. All he said was come. All he said was come. He did not show you how long the distance is, the strategy. All he says was come. Now, if you look at it, it has happened a lot in the other aspects of the Bible. Abraham also experienced the same thing when he left his country. There was no express blueprint that was given. When Moses left Egypt after he had killed somebody, there was no express plan on what his life would look like. When Joshua was crossing the Jordan River, all they knew was that they were crossing. As to what was going to happen at the other end, they were waiting on the Lord to give the instructions for the next steps. When David was going to face Goliath, what was going to happen to David afterwards? Nobody knew what his journey was going to look like. All we knew was that at that point, David was meant to face Goliath. David would be king. As to how that process would look like, David did not know. Moses was going to be a leader. As to how that journey was going to look like, he did not know. But what was required of him was to take the step. God is at the other end. God has promised you. God said come, and all you have to do is take the step. As to what it's going to look like, you don't know. On a pure uncertainty, you don't know. In today's life, we don't like moving when we are not certain about certain things. We don't like moving when we don't know what the next step, when we don't know what the process, the end goal is going to be like. We always want to know before we go. But the Bible has consistently showed us a pattern that when God is taking you somewhere, all he will show you is, I want you to take this route. As to what is on the route, you don't know. Only God knows. And that is something that we need to start paying more attention to. Now, let's go to the second part of it. What was more interesting? Now, before he started walking before he started working on water, what happened? They were on a boat. People have made boats for us to be able to travel on water. Here's the case where you are being told to leave the boat and walk on water. Today, if we leave you and we tell you that walk on the water right now, hey, it's outside of how the human brain knows how to do things. And I'm starting to realize that it's something we need to take into consideration when we are understanding when God is calling us. When God told him to come, where did God tell him to come from? Jesus was already standing on water. Jesus was already demonstrating that impossible. He's making you pursue something that is impossible, so that at the end of the day, you will not say it was by your own might, it was by your own power, but God held you. You got confirmation from God that come. Even where he called you from was a place of impossibility. God will take you from your family and then take you and put you in a position where nobody in your family thought you would go to. God will take you from your workplace and put you in a position where nobody expected you to get to. People thought it was impossible, but guess what? Nothing is impossible for God. Even the presentation, the blueprint for your life, it looks like the blueprint for your life. If God showed it to you, you know that you can't get there without God. That's one interesting thing. Where he was told to go to, without God telling him to come, he can't get there on his own. Because when God told him to come, God made it possible for him to walk on water, because God was the one who was going to facilitate the whole process, not him. That's why he could walk on water. On a normal day, when they are fishing and things, when they enter the water, their leg goes inside. But today, when he put his leg on water, when God said come, when he put his leg on the water, he was standing on the water. Let's continue. It says that what? Now let's get to the part where he started working on the water, because he had changed his mindset. Remember, he was the only one who left the water. He was the only one who left the boat, He left the boat and decided to start walking on the water. The other disciples stayed there. That was the crazy part for me. That's when I realized that it was serious. The other disciples stayed there. Mind you, Jesus Christ is walking on water. Jesus Christ is walking on water. He's standing somewhere and he said he should come, and he was going. Now, on a normal day, they feel safe when they are with Jesus. So I was wondering why the 11 of them stayed on the boat when Jesus was not on the boat. But let's continue. Now, let's talk about the fear bit. When Peter decided to start walking on the water, let's remember something. The waves were already there before they saw Jesus coming. The winds were already blowing before they saw Jesus coming. The storms, nothing had changed though. Everything was still there when they saw Jesus coming. Peter saw Jesus, and then he said, what? Come. Then Peter was going. As Peter was going, there was a part of the Bible that says that Peter was focused on Jesus. But the moment Peter shifted his eyes and saw the winds and the waves, the moment Peter's focus changed from looking at Jesus Christ to now looking at the winds and the waves and all the scary things, then fear took over. When fear took over, he began to sink. His downfall started not from the fear, it started from the shift in focus. It did not start from the fear, it started from the shift in focus. The perception, what he was looking at, the vision, it stopped. No. He did not look at Jesus. He stopped looking at Jesus and was looking at something else. That was where the whole downfall started from. Because remember, the winds and the waves were always there. The temptations, the trials, the difficult people you are working with, the financial issues, all of those things were there. The academic headache, everything was there. But when he was focused on Jesus, he was still going. He was still going until he stopped focusing on Jesus and started focusing on all the things that were going wrong around him. Focus. When he lost his focus, then fear found a way. It was only when he lost his focus that fear came. It was only when he lost his focus that fear came. The Bible never said he told fear to come. But fear came because he lost his focus. And what happened? When he lost his focus, what happened? He decided it's now time to take a dip. Then he started to drown. Now, there's another beautiful part about this part I love so much that people don't understand. Because he was following Jesus, even when he was drowning, Jesus Christ came and reached out to him and pulled him out of the water. He was following Jesus. Now, my question was that the people that were on the boat, if the boat were destroyed, would Jesus have reached? They were not following Jesus at that in that instance. We will never know. But in that instance, they were on the boat. In that instance, they were on the boat. Even if you look at it from the perspective that they were on the boat, even if they were sinking, they were still leaving to where Jesus said they should go. So Jesus would have helped them. But at the end of the day, who was closer to Jesus? The one who was still on the boat, or the one who was moving closer? Which people were closer to Jesus? Peter or the 11 disciples? Wouldn't it be better that even if you drowned and you passed away, you knew that you were going closer to Jesus, than for you to have drowned and you know that the thing, you and Jesus, the social distancing, the gap was so big? It was a very interesting thing for me to realize. Another thing I loved, and I'll emphasize again, was the beauty of God's grace. God's grace is greater than your failure. God's grace is greater than your fears. It doesn't matter whether you are sinking. It doesn't matter whether you have lost focus. This particular aspect was saying that God's grace is there. God's grace will reach out to you. God's grace will reach out to you when you are focusing on God. It doesn't matter whether you have backslided, whether you have made mistakes, whether you have regrets. It doesn't matter how far your focus has shifted. There's a grace. The grace brings you back. The grace realigns you. The grace allows you to focus on Jesus Christ and then pursue that path once again. The grace allows you to continue on the vision. The grace allows God to take you out of the trouble that you are in. Whether it's financial trouble, whether it's health trouble, whether it's relationship trouble, whether it's marriage trouble, whether it's academic trouble, the grace of God makes it possible for you to be restored back, for you to be taken out of that particular situation, because you were pursuing Jesus. Because you were pursuing Jesus. And that was a very beautiful part. That was a very beautiful part that we need to consider. So today, your boat might be applying for a new job, starting a new business, going back to school, beginning a ministry, forgiving somebody, moving to another country, asking someone for help, maybe starting a new program. It's all of those things are still wrapped around uncertainty. You don't know what the outcome is. But the most important thing you need to ask yourself is that, did Jesus tell you to come? Did Jesus tell you to pursue the business, to pursue the ministry, to pursue the school, to pursue the marriage? Did Jesus guide you towards that action? Because if he did, trust me, pursue it. Don't stop. Just focus on Jesus and then pursue it. Pursue it. Don't let uncertainty stop you. Don't let uncertainty stop you at all, because you can't walk on that water if you are still on that boat. Until you decide to follow Jesus, you will not get it. Until you decide to fix your mind on once Jesus has told you that if you go here, you'll be successful. You will not know what is in the process to get there. But the moment you decide to leave where you are to take that step, you will make more progress than wherever you were initially. It is better to take the step and to make mistakes, get grace, and still move forward, than to be at the same place where no progress is made. And that, for me, that's a very scary thing. So at the end of the day, I leave you all with this. What's your boat? What is the thing that God has been asking you to step into that fear has been keeping you from? You can share some of your thoughts on the comment sections and we can pray together. Thank you very much. And let's understand where our boat is. Let's understand where Jesus is calling us to. Let's get the word that says we should come, and then let's pursue the new job, the new business, the new relationship, the new marriage, the ministry, whether it is going to a different country, whether it's helping somebody, whether it's asking for help. Let's pursue. Let's move away from fear, and let's step into uncertainty with a trust that is with God and Jesus Christ, with the Holy Spirit supporting us. Thank you, everyone. Peace.